I started out thinking this video was going to be about how intense kids' extracurricular activities are in the US. But then it hit me. The intensity is just a symptom of a much bigger issue.
It's a difference that allows the French to enjoy their lives in ways that are totally different from us Americans. That's what this video is really about.
Hi, I'm Raina.
I'm Jason. We're Baguette Bound.
The cost and time commitment of kids' activities both in and out of school is completely out of control in the US. It will take over both your life and your kid's life. We personally hit the breaking point with this one when our daughter was in 3rd grade.
At this point in the US, Juliana was in 3 different activities at once: Little League Baseball, Jiu-Jitsu, and theater. Now, she loved all of these and she asked to participate all the time in these. But it literally meant that she had something every night of the week plus Saturday mornings. Practices, rehearsals, classes, games, tournaments, which of course obviously meant that we also had something to do every night and every weekend.
You're booked too.
It's so disruptive to family life or having dinner together, and let's not even talk about how much all of this costs. So at some point, a few months into these assortment of 3rd grade activities, we're getting ready to leave one afternoon, and Juliana looks at us almost in tears.
She was just so tired. She goes, "Mom, I don't want to go." Which, you've seen our daughter on this channel. She's social, she loves participating. But at that time, she was 8 years old and she just needed some more free time for play and rest after school. So, as the compassionate parent I imagine I am, I could see this and realize, okay, we've got to pare back the schedule. So I wrote the owner of the martial arts gym that she was in to say that we'd be taking a break, that she just needed some more rest and a little more space in the schedule. He wrote me back almost immediately and excoriated me for letting her even consider quitting jiu-jitsu. He told me, he actually wrote this, that if I let her quit now, it would begin a pattern for the rest of her life. No joke. He said, she'll probably drop out of university and she'll get divorced if you let her quit jiu-jitsu now. I was like, dude, she's 8.
That was a little extreme, but it really reflects a common mindset in the US. Activities are treated like high-stakes investments. Even YMCA youth soccer feels like it's prepping kids for the Olympics, or at least, at the minimum, a college scholarship.
Yeah, and if you're not all in as a parent too, you can feel judged or even a little ostracized by the other parents. Yeah. This has definitely happened to some of my American friends. So, in our experience so far in France, it has felt completely different. Here, at least for us so far, the kids' extracurricular activities are much more relaxed. If you're in a sport, there might be a practice a week and a game a week, usually on Wednesday afternoons, so it doesn't really disrupt family dinners and evenings in the same way activities in the US in the evenings did. And the focus feels like it's not on creating everyone might be a potential, professional athlete or Olympian, or this is so serious because your future of being able to go to college is banking on getting a sports scholarship or music scholarship or something. The activities here in France for the kids seem to be more about enjoyment, seeing friends, personal growth, being active outside. The kids do them just because they're fun.
It's shocking, right? But this is the seed for that famous French life-work balance, I think. The French give themselves permission to pursue their interests just for the joy of it, really at any age. You can see this with all of the local associations that are available for adults to join in France. We even have one locally, and I love it, that's called Singing for Pleasure. It's so straightforward.
Yeah.
But this is really where the big cultural divide becomes clear. Because it often feels, in the US, as an adult, if you're not advancing your career or your status or being productive in some real concrete way, you might just be a frivolous person.
Maybe a little. I don't see that same stigma here in France when you pursue non-work activities like hobbies or leisure time, or just, taking time to enjoy small pleasures daily. I mean, and it's not that the French just have so much more time, because they are also working and raising kids and waiting in line for their baguettes.
Sometimes it's a long line.
Yeah. But the difference to me seems to be the lack of guilt that the French attach to doing things because you enjoy them.
Yeah, I mean, there are even words that we Americans, we go to great lengths to avoid using when it comes to fun. Leisure and pleasure. Leisure just sounds like laziness. In the US, if you have leisure time, shouldn't you be volunteering or starting a side hustle, or at least catching up on laundry around the house?
Yeah, I would never tell someone I had leisure time. The whore. Like, what would you think of me?
Would be thinking, yeah. And pleasure? I mean, that, honestly, it's a dirty word in the religious South where we grew up. It's so taboo. The word pleasure is associated with adult sex shops more than everyday life.
Food is often one of the few socially acceptable places in the US that we allow ourselves to really experience pleasure. Ever since then, I've wondered if, as a culture, we Americans allowed ourselves to experience more, fun and pleasure in other parts of life, that instead of that constant pressure to be seen, spending our time in ways that are virtuous or productive, would we have the same obesity problem we have in the US if we just gave ourselves some more options for fun and pleasure besides ice cream?
Yeah, I don't know the answer, but it's an interesting question because the French enjoy food immensely too.
Right.
It's almost a national sport here.
Yeah.
But they also allow themselves to find pleasure and joy in a lot of other daily activities that I don't think we give ourselves permission for in the US.
Not in the same way. I feel like the truth is that Americans often believe that they have to earn their enjoyment in life. Finish your chores first, be productive first. Only then can you relax, maybe not totally without guilt, but with a little less. But let's be honest here, the to-do list is never gonna end until you die.
Maybe the French seem to have figured this out. They know that the to-do list will always be there, so you don't wait for it to disappear before you begin to enjoy life, or just to give yourself permission to go to lunch. These kind of small daily pleasures are just part of life here, whether it's a coffee break,
Fais un petit danse pour le chocolat chaud.
a stroll, or a hobby. These moments aren't something to be earned, they're part of the point of living.
And that attitude starts in childhood. Kids learn to work hard and they take their education seriously, but they're also taught, like with the extracurricular activities, it's okay to do things just for fun. And the reason is because finding that joy in life, it's just as important as the other parts of life are.
For more about moving, adjusting, and enjoying life in France, you can subscribe below.
Thanks for watching.
A bientôt.